Yo, what's good? It's the boy Do The Views, and in case you haven't seen the entire AOT anime, then heavy spoilers for all the episodes, you have been warned. On November 4th, Attack on Titan the anime series finally came to an end, with episode 89 wrapping up this amazing story. And that got me wondering, what is the best episode of Attack on Titan? Now, just to let you know that I love all the episodes of AOT, I don't think any of them are necessarily bad. In fact, I believe that all the episodes are 9 out of 10s or above, but I just like some more than others. In last place, we have Lost Girl, Wolf Seen a Goodbye, Lost in the Cruel World, Distress, and The Sudden Visitor. Now, these 4 OVAs I decided to put in a special honorable mentions before doing the main 89 episode ranking. Due to the fact that they are not official episodes and they are OVAs, I did do a ranking list on the OVAs, but I must admit that these are the least impressive Attack on Titan episodes. I think out of the 4 of them, I think Lost Girl, Wolf Seen a Goodbye is the worst of them. The whole Annie going on a mission felt very fillerish. Lost in the Cruel World with Mikasa, I must admit that I did like the idea of Mikasa trying to let go of Eren and accept his death. Foreshadowing to the finale, Distress was a nice side mission with the cadets trying to work together as a team, and Sudden Visitor is the best of the worst. I love the Sasha and Jean rivalry trying to make a meal for Pixis, and Wit Studio didn't have to go hard with that Pixis dream sequence animation. But with those out of the way, let's go into the main ranking list and let's talk about number 89, the worst of the Attack on Titan episodes, and that is episode 83 titled Pride. Even in the manga, I didn't quite enjoy this episode. I didn't like the idea of Armin trying to sacrifice himself and then Connie saving him, and then Connie is okay with the whole situation and then he's laughing at Annie. I thought that was quite bizarre considering what Annie did to the scouts, how it seemed that they sort of easily forgave her. I just think the pacing was a bit off, and it did feel a little bit rushed overall. The Louise moment again was another mixed moment that I didn't quite like in the manga. I thought it was very harsh for Mikasa to walk away from this poor girl. After rewatching it, I do appreciate that scene as well, how Mikasa wanted to distance herself from this girl because she didn't want her to end up being so obsessed and following someone who may not be the right person to follow. Mikasa saw herself in Louise and she didn't want her to be like her. Number 88, we have episode 84, Night of the End. I did like the episode. I liked the whole idea of the guys in Mali and the Survey Corps all trying to talk it out. I loved the tension between Reiner and Jean Boy, and I really did like Yelena calling each and every one of these people out. No one is in the right or wrong, showing us how morally grey each and every one of these people are. But I won't lie, I wasn't a fan of the colouring choice of this episode. Of course, I understand the stylistic choice of using many trees in this episode, but I get it, it's children trying to get out of the forest. Number 87, we have episode 33, The Hunters. Mikasa just wants to be by Eren's side. They flash back to when they were kids, and they realize that no matter the time period, no matter how old they get, the same situation keeps happening. Eren gets himself into trouble, and Mikasa and Armin have to go running after him to try and protect and save him. And sadly, this running theme never ends. I must admit the scene of Anka slapping Pixis was pretty damn hilarious. At number 86, we have episode 38, Smoke Signal. I loved Eren and Historia's little conversation they had, how Eren liked the way Historia was, how she was no longer acting like an innocent little princess, and of course the ending scene of Kenny just sneaking up behind Levi and shooting that poor Nifa girl. Justice for Nifa, which began the awesome sequence of Kenny versus Levi. I mean, what a way to start the season, mate. At number 85, we have episode 41, titled Trust. I loved Muller's loyalty and him realizing that he joined the wrong regiment, him wanting to fight for what's right. What a great guy. Fleagle also had an awesome moment of him being really brave. The dude's been a coward through the entire season, but in this episode he finally stood his ground and was brave enough to expose the corrupt MPs. At number 84, we have episode 27, titled I'm Home. While a lot of people didn't quite like this episode back in 2017, as many thought it was filler, I on the other hand enjoyed it. I like seeing more Sasha, and I love this episode as we got to truly see how much she grew over time. She went from not really caring about anyone to sacrificing herself for this strange little girl. She was brave, and I'm happy that Isayama didn't kill her off in this episode. At number 83, we have episode 40, titled Old Story. I like how we got to dive into Owen's past and see how a foolish young lad's curiosity of the world led to his father's death, and seeing poor baby Historia being absolutely mistreated by the adults in the world how her parents never really cared for her, and you do see the similarities between Historia and Ymir in this flashback. The way the two girls were used by the adults of their world. At number 82, we have episode 12 titled Wound. I do like how this episode was more or less the origin of Aaron's conviction. When Armin questions the dude, why does he want to go outside a dangerous world? And Aaron replies, because he was born into this world. And I like how Armin is just sticking by his friend through thick and thin, how Aaron is practically a useless dude without his friends. And Captain Ian was an absolute goat in this episode, how he still believed in Aaron's powers and he had faith in the dude, despite his comrades disagreeing with him. At number 81, we have episode 28 titled Southwest Ward. I like the episode as we see how Pastor Nick is starting to feel pretty damn guilty by hiding the truth after seeing what the civilians are going through, showing us that the people that know the truth of the world truly don't realize that what they're hiding is really hurting others. We got to dive more into Krista and Ymir's friendship, which I liked, as well as having one of the most hyped up and really intense endings of an episode, seeing Nanaba's squad attacking the Titans, Aaron and the gang heading towards the castle. The music, the animation really hyped me up for next week's episode. At number 80, we have episode 45. I felt bad for my boy Aaron, breaking down the way he did, feeling like he's not special, but realizing in the end that he cannot be selfish and he has to protect his friends. Historia was also a pretty amazing character in this episode, trying to knock some sense into Eren Yeager. She was the first one to say that it's not a good idea for Eren to sacrifice himself to her dad. She was a real, true, loyal friend to Eren Yeager. At number 79, we have 44 Wish. From the amazing action sequence of Levi Squad versus the Kenny Squad, to Historia finally making a choice to be there for Eren and to not go down the same path as Frida and the rest of the royal family, this episode had it all. At number 78, episode 10, Response. This episode truly showed us Armin Arlet's bravery, him showing his loyalty to his friends, and showing the true leader that he's going to eventually become in the future. At number 77, we have episode 16, What Needs to Be Done. The episode where Aaron's friends choose to join him in the Scouts as they can't look back as they have seen the Titans, especially with Jean. I'm sure he felt bad thinking of the idea of joining the military police and living a cozy life. At number 76, we have episode 11, Idol. They didn't have to animate Pixis' yell the way they did. It was just unexpectedly beautiful the way the camera pans back as he's screaming. Rico trying to tell Eren that he has to think of all the people who are putting their lives on the line. I thought it was a little bit harsh, putting so much pressure on this kid. At number 75, we have episode 63, Gabby, Falco and their friends having a pretty nice relaxing day before the destruction of the next few episodes, humanizing the Marleyans in a way so that when Eren and co come in to attack them, it's going to hurt very much. At number 74, we have episode 62. Rana's backstory was sad. Him not being good enough, but him showing his loyalty to Marley despite him being the runt of the litter. I felt bad for the dude. The guilt he must be feeling after being saved by Marcel, showing us the origin of Ryan's split personality and his conviction to do what needs to be done. Watching this episode gave me whiplash as I wasn't really aware that Reiner and his friends were kids when they destroyed the walls. But I won't lie, the way they drew Reiner as a teenager in this episode was a bit strange, but just a nitpick. At number 73, we have episode 9, To Whereabouts of His Left Arm, showing us how Eren Yeager pretty much got out of that Titan belly. And that entire scene was just horrific. It felt like I was watching a horror film. We also got introduced to Captain Levi and the entire Scouts, showing us the parallels between Levi and Erwin, how Levi cares for his comrades while Erwin is just more obsessed with the mission and trying to find answers than his comrades. At number 72, we have episode 61. Interesting seeing the warriors go home and then reunited with their parents compared to how the Scouts come back home and they are completely bloodied and bruised. Just an interesting parallel. The episode had an interesting art style where a lot of motion blur and camera lens flare were used in this episode, as well as rotoscoping. Possibly one of the most visually striking episodes of the entire season 4. At number 71, we have episode 18. The female Titan sent shivers down my spine seeing how sadistic she was, just swinging the Scouts like a yo-yo, and just that sinister aura that she emitted as she was just chasing Eren and the Levi squad through the forest, and just how fearful everyone was was. At number 70 we have episode 51 titled Thunder Spears. I just love the inclusion of the Thunder Spears and the way the scouts are just ripping them. Once again we got another dramatic battle between Eren and Reiner, although I must admit the animation for the fight wasn't quite as clean as season 2's fight. I liked how Erwin admitted the guilt he felt leading his comrades into battle. While they all fight for humanity, Erwin fights for his dream. Very dark, powerful scenes with Erwin just feeling guilty over everything. And speaking of Erwin, number 69, titled episode 20, Erwin Smith. This episode pretty much shows us who Erwin Smith is as a person through the perspective of some of the members in Squadron Levi and through Armin Arlet, where Armin tells Jean that anyone that can't sacrifice a thing can't achieve anything, with Mr. Smith being the most aware of that fact. Number 68, we have episode 77, Sneak Attack. I love how this episode we finally have Gabby realize that the devils of Paradise Island aren't bad people, they're just normal people. I love the symbolism, how we see empty bird cages. Gabby has finally flown out of the cage that was Marley's propaganda. Also Jean telling the gang that Eren has always been a pain in the butt, they always have to go after him and save him, but him admitting that he's been jealous of him the whole time. I like that. Jean humbling himself when it comes to Mr. Jaeger. Mikasa leaving the scarf behind, showing us that she's trying to distance herself from being obsessed with Eren. She don't want to be no slave. At number 67 we have 19. This episode is basically Eren trying to have faith in the scouts, with Levi foreshadowing what Eren is going to become in the future, him being a monster. Even without his Titan powers, he's still a threat, but he's got to make a choice in the end. Trust his strength or his comrades, and he trusts his comrades, but sadly that gets them killed. A lot of screaming by Eren Yeager in this episode, very anime-esque. At number 66 we have 69. This episode showing us how far Eren has gone down into madness, him screaming at Hanji. Damn, I feel bad for Hanji in this episode, the amount of pressure she's under, and just seeing those past scenes where Eren is with the scouts, him still showing love and care for his friends, but now he is completely ghosting them, and Connie doesn't know how to feel about this. He blames Eren for what happened to Sasha, and he ain't forgiving this Jaeger bomb. At number 65, we have episode 3, which is basically the introduction to all the scouts. It can also be considered filler because you don't really need to watch this episode. You could just jump into episode 4 because it pretty much does the same thing. Eren and the scouts training, Eren talking about his dreams and all that stuff. But at number 64, we have episode 4. It's pretty much a continuation of episode 3, but it ends with doom and gloom with the Colossal Titan emerging. And I love it. It's really spooky when he just appears behind Eren Yeager, just when Eren is in a good mood. Bertolt, why do you have to ruin everything? At number 63, we have episode 15, Special Operations Squad. I love the conversation between Eren and Hanji. Hanji talking about Sonny and Beam to Eren, and then it ends with the deaths of Sonny and Beam, and Erwin is just whispering to Eren, who's the real enemy? I just love how Mr. Smith is one step ahead of everyone. Eren at the time didn't know what he meant, but now we truly do. At number 62, we have episode 75. I love the moment where Miss Peak Fiction Finger talks to Gabby, telling her that no matter how good of an honorary Marleyan she is, the world will still look at them as devils, and she cannot trust Marley, but she will still trust her comrades through thick and thin. An amazing Peak-centric episode, and you can't help but simp over this gal, just like all the scouts did. At number 61, we have episode 29. I just love seeing episodes with Ymir and Historia just interacting together, and I just like the dynamic with the scouts just talking and chilling and just discussing what's going on. But man, I really liked Nanaba and her friends. I thought they were going to play a huge part in season 2, but once again they were like another Levi squad who just got massacred by the Titans. Very sad ending, but I love how it ended with a twist. Ymir is a Titan? That blew me away when I read it in the manga. At number 60, we have episode 76. The Eren and Reiner battle looks amazing. It's a much better improvement over the season 3 part 2 Eren vs Reiner fight. The CGI was utilized really well in this episode, and I like Connie's breakdown. He's sick of everything. He hates being betrayed. He hates seeing his friends lie to him. I think this was like the tipping point for Connie. This was the boiling point, and he just couldn't handle it. He didn't know if Onyankopon was a friend or a foe, but Armin stepping up and being the leader that he is, understanding that Onyankopon is a good boy. He would never betray them. He cares for kids, just like Armin. At number 59, episode 26, The Beast Rice Titan. This episode had a really horrifying ending, the death of our boy Michi. The Beast Titan talking was a huge reveal and it really creeped me out. The way he's drawn and designed, what a frightening monster this man is. And Michi, who has throughout the entire show been this cool, calm, collective dude, breaking down, freaking out, just shows us how human these dudes are. Number 58, we have episode 42. I just love the cooperation of Pixis and Zachary and Irvin and Niall stepping up and realizing that, hey, these leaders that I've been following, they ain't good people. It's like what Commander Owen Smith said. These men do not care for humanity. They just care for their fat stomachs and their lands and houses and their riches. And this whole farce was a beautiful way to expose the nasty men. But that fake king, being a fake king, really surprised me. I thought it was going to be a big deal. At number 57, we have episode 71. The uprising of the Jaegerist begins in this episode, where we had possibly one of the most beautiful, visually stunning scene of Eren walking up the hill, meeting Flock and his cronies with that beautiful sunset. Marvelous. When Zachary went boom and flew out of the window and he saw all the crowd just cheering Shinzo Sasageo, it was pretty sinister. Sasageo was meant to be a chant of hope, but this one felt pretty nasty and very dirty. At number 56, we have episode 7, Mikasa trying to just bury her grief over finding out that Eren Yeager ain't alive and her being disappointed in her comrades. She's just going out, charging, doing her thing, beautiful ODM gear sequences, but then she realizes that she doesn't want to die. She still wants to remember Eren, and how can she do that when her body is a corpse? At number 55, we have episode 70. I love the interaction between Gabby and Kaya, how Kaya just keeps telling Gabby that, what did I do? What did my mother do? We weren't there to destroy your hometown. We're not devils. But Gabby is just absolutely not hearing it. She is just such a frustrating person in this episode. Honestly, I felt like slapping Gabby in this episode. At number 54, we have episode 30. Anytime Ymir and Historia share an episode together, I'm always here for it. I love these two characters, showing us the lengths that Ymir is willing to go to protect her gal, and my gosh, the beautiful detail on Historia and Ymir's face at the end of the episode. At number 53, we have episode 68. I love Onyokapon's speech, how Mr. Coupon looks different to them because his creator wanted there to be a mix of people. Such a nice way to combat unconscious racism. But man, it was so sad at the end of the episode where we see Sasha's family come to the grave. Niccolo gets beaten up by an Eldian, just showcasing the really harsh similarities between Paradise Island and the land of Mali. At number 52, we have episode 45. I love the episode. I love the sequence of Historia flying like a ballerina, slicing her father up. And just seeing the teamwork of the scouts, I just love that shot of all the scouts on top of the walls about to attack the Rod Rice Titan. Historia is so brave in this episode, you love to see it. At number 51, we have episode 39. My oh my, so much pain in this episode. Levi's brilliant ODM gear sequence of him versus Kenny, slicing up Kenny's comrades, to Hanji torturing Sarnis. This episode was painful to watch. At number 50, we have episode 82 titled Sunset, diving deep into Annie's backstory, seeing how she never really cared for the world, but there was one person who cared for her and she cared for him, and all she cares about is going back there. The friendship between Hitch and Annie is so charming and very underrated. And my oh my, Flock is an absolute menace in this episode. At number 49, The Town Where Everything Began, episode 50. I like how this episode confirmed that Eren's entire dream of freedom began when Armin showed the book. I love the scene of the scouts just jumping over the walls and Eren declaring that everyone is free because they were born into this world, as he does a wicked Spider-Man-esque sequence on his ODM gear and transforms into the Shingeki no Kyojin. At 49, we have episode 14. The scene of Levi beating up Eren was absolutely insane. Back when I initially watched this episode for the first time, the violence freaked me out. Mikasa's face, my gosh, she cares for her Eren-kun. The way they drew her, man, don't mess with the Yakuman. And seeing that Levi is willing to do any dirty thing if it means benefiting the scouts. At number 47, we have episode 49. This episode more or less marks the halfway point of the AOT anime, a time of reflection, and just one more peaceful night before the battle in Shingashina. It's sad because Eren was so hopeful in this episode. He acknowledged that he needs the strength of others in order to move forward, but seeing where he goes in the future, very sad indeed. Number 46, episode 2, Harness and admitting that he was too weak to protect Eren's mom. Very heartfelt moment and very realistic. Any ordinary human would feel the exact same way Harness felt. Number 45, we have episode 66. What a dramatic battle we had in Mali. Eren Yeager was incredibly ruthless in this episode, abusing Porco, using his jaws to crush the shell, Armin's Colossal Titan going boom, and him finally understanding what Bertolt felt when he did the exact same thing. Gabby and Falco's screams to wake up Reiner was really emotional. Reiner wanted to give up, but he had to think about the children. They are the future. Reiner Brown, what a man you are. At number 44, episode 65. The episode where we had the return of the scouts looking all grown up was really awesome and satisfying to see. It also gives us a sneak peek into the divide within the scouts where Flock is in agreement of Eren Yeager's plan, while his friends are really not feeling this plan at all. At number 43, we have episode 23. From the second Annie appeared on screen in this episode, I knew she was the female Titan, as it seemed interestingly strange that she would make a sudden appearance after what the female Titan did to Levi's squad. I just love the suspense of Annie not wanting to go down into the basement, but also showing that she isn't all bad. She wanted to be seen as a good person to Armin, and she was honestly quite hurt when she found out it was all a sham. My gosh, I love the way the female Titan is animated in this episode. So much detail and fluidity. The tension was intense. The scene of Sasha running away from the pure Titan. The animation really does help with the intensity within moments like that, especially the scene of Reiner flying away from Annie's hand. We think he's dead, but no, the Reiner boy is safe. Number 41. Episode 13. Just seeing Eren seal the wall with the boulder wall and him having that inner monologue saying that he will achieve freedom no matter what. Yuki Kaji's inner monologue when he was talking about freedom when Eren was about to seal the hole was really sad, yet very angry at the same time, showing Eren Yeager's mix of emotions. I was very sad with what happened to Ian. He was the only one who believed in Eren and Mikasa. At number 40, we have episode 24, Mercy, which in my opinion had one of the coolest ODM gear sequence of Mikasa flying around Annie. Seeing all the scouts working together to take down Annie was really cool. Jean knocking some sense into Eren, telling him that he needs to snap out of it and he needs to fight and just get the job done. Armin telling he must abandon his humanity, and it kind of leads into the next episode. Number 39, episode 25. While Nile is an MP, he isn't a bad person. He's out there to protect humanity and he's in the right in this moment. Owen, his plan is really reckless and it's killing a lot of people, and it's really sad seeing some of the children just walking around this blood-filled city. Armin said, Eren, abandon your humanity to take down the monsters. Eren did that and he went a bit crazy, declaring he would destroy the world. But would Eren Yeager do that? That's so silly. Yikes. But man, this being the final episode before season 2 in the next 4 years was unreal, dude. At number 38, we have episode 36, Charge. I love the scene of all of Bertolt and Reiner's comrades just being so distraught over their betrayal, and Bertolt for the first time really speaking up and telling Mikasa that he didn't ask for this, he didn't choose this life, giving us an insight that these guys aren't all bad and he has to be the one to get his hands dirty, and which is a big foreshadowing to the episode retrospective / traitor in season 4 where Connie has to do what he's gotta do. Owen being the absolute goat in this episode, losing an arm, my gosh, this man is a madman. And Mikasa saying that she has no room in her heart for anyone after what her enemies did to her 6 years ago. She goes from looking like a monster in this scene to looking like an angel when she's around Eren. It's just so drastic and jarring. At number 37, we have episode 21, Crushing Blow. The scene shocked me. I didn't expect the entire Levi squad to be wiped out like that. I truly thought they would play a huge role in the future, but man, that was shocking. And the way Levi looked at Petra, my gosh, it's deja vu all over again. Number 36, we have episode 52. Bertolt and Armin's conversation was really good. I do like how Armin was the only one who wanted to try and solve things with a conversation. I love Bertolt's inner monologue of him saying and acknowledging that no one's in the right or wrong, it's just a cruel world, and he transforms into the CGI Colossal Titan. Number 35, we have Scream. Eren's breakdown after him losing Harness, him feeling useless, and it's sort of a tragic repeat of what happened happened to him 5 years ago, but this time round, he has the power of the founding / Shingeki no Kyojin inside of him. His story had a cool, elegant moment, fighting for Ymir. At number 34, we have episode 60, The Other Side of the Sea, the first episode of Marpa and the time skip. The action was sweet, as well as introducing us to this whole new world and this brand new cast of characters. At number 33, we have episode 43, when Eren finds out what happened to his father. I was shocked. I couldn't believe what Grisha did when I read the manga. How could Grisha do something so cruel, I thought at the time. But yuck, I hated the Zachary scene. But I liked the talk between Owen and Pixis, where Owen tells him that humanity will continue to fight one another until there is one man left standing or less. A big foreshadowing to the ending of AOT. At number 32, we have episode 47. I love the scene of Kenny being so spooked by Yuri bowing down to him, which made him want to follow him. And I truly feel like Yuri truly predicted the ending of Attack on Titan here, where he tells Kenny that in the near future this world will fall, as well as it being the moment where Kenny tells Levi that every human being is a slave to something. I just love this one line which completely beautifully captures what Attack on Titan was in the end. At number 31, we have episode 56, The Basement. I like the long drawn out episode. The suspense was killing me, just walking ever so slowly to the basement, and this episode more or less ended the end of Attack on Titan as we knew it, with them fighting titans inside the walls and not knowing the truth of the world. At number 30, we have episode 86. Flock Forster's determination to take down the traitors was absolutely astonishing. Whether you love or hate the dude, he had some really cool moments, but Keith and Magif had an awesome moment. Despite Keith no longer being a bystander and actually doing something that's going to make a difference, no one will know what he did, which makes his entire story incredibly tragic. But I like how Magif is also starting to acknowledge that the whole Marley brainwashing was complete and utter rubbish, and he just wished for the kids to just live long, happy lives. Two commanders on different sides of the sea coming together to save the world. Number 29, we have episode 32, Eren vs. Reiner. My gosh, the best Titan on Titan action sequence I've ever seen. At number 28, we have episode 85, Connie absolutely understanding what Bertolt had to go through when he betrayed his friends in order to save the world. Really destroyed Connie in this episode. But not only did he understand Bertolt, but I think he understood Eren in this moment, what he had to do, be a monster to save everyone. At number 27, we have episode 8, the shocking return of Eren Yeager. My gosh, I was floored when I watched this for the first time. Couldn't believe this dude was alive. At number 26, we have episode 59, which is the final episode of season 3, the end of the pre-time skip and the end of Wit Studios era. While he came off as a bit of a jerk, I understood what Flock was going through. He felt he was tricked and lied to into joining the Scouts, thinking that he could be a hero, but realizing that he was nothing but fodder in the end, a replaceable man. But this being the episode where Eren kissed Historia's hand, and then everything started to make sense to him in the end, and his rhetorical question of, if we kill everyone over there, will we be free? And to be honest with you, I don't think that question is quite truly answered in the end. Number 25, we have episode 34, Opening. The screaming match between Eren and Reiner was insane, and I loved the way the faces were drawn in this episode. Both subbed and dubbed voice actors did a phenomenal job, but to know in the future, it's really ironic that Eren called Reiner and Bertolt the worst people imaginable, knowing what he's going to do in the future. Lol. At number 24, we have Assassin's Bullet. My gosh, when Gabby did what she did to Sasha, I couldn't believe it when I read it in the manga. And Zeke being on their side, whoa. At number 23, we have episode 72, Children of the Forest, one of the better written episodes of AOT. Just the screaming match between everyone was so intense. Papa Browse forgiving Gabby for what she did and realizing that we have to get our children out of the forest, otherwise more Sasha Browses will be shot. But Kaya, she's still young and doesn't really understand the world, and she's just acting on her impulses to try and stab one Gabby Brown. At number 22, we have episode 58, Ymir's farewell to Historia was sweet. But that plot twist at the end where the owl tells Grisha to save Mikasa and Armin, holy moly. I remember the fandom went insane over that moment and I had so many theories. Number 21, we have episode 87, one final happy night before Eren Yeager goes rogue. I love the moment, it's so wholesome, and seeing the rumbling emotion was frightening to watch. The swimming scene was both a bit goofy yet also really unsettling. At number 20 we have savagery. My gosh, so many savage moments. Eren beating up Armin, saying hurtful things to Mikasa, Flock commanding the new recruits to beat up Shaders, and Levi tearing into the Beast Titan was insane. Although I must admit that this was the only time in the entire AOT show where the CGI made me go, yikes, what's going on here with the Beast Titan. At number 19 we have episode 35 titled Children. Seeing Freckle Ymir's backstory was interesting to say the least, and it was really heartbreaking. An orphan who just got pulled into this society of Ymir worshippers, and then throwing the blame onto Ymir despite her trying to protect them in the end. She got nothing out of it. She was used, and I actually understand why she connected to Historia. She saw a little bit of herself in the blonde gal. 18. There were 3 sets of 2 brothers in this episode, all the big brothers trying to do something for the little brothers. But when Eren Yeager's head goes spinning like Ryuga's El Drago, my jaw was on the ground. I couldn't believe it. The torture us manga readers had to endure after Eren's head went to let it rip. That was painful, man. At number 17, Erwin's speech was emotional and impactful, but the scene that actually got me the most was Flock just breaking down. Him wanted to be a hero, but realizing that his life meant nothing in the end because he's going to face the Beast Titan's wrath. But Erwin definitely had to be the one to rally the troops because my gosh, his speech is inspiring. At number 16 we have Soul Salvation, finally diving into Zeke's backstory and realizing that, man, Grisha and Dinah were pretty daft in the way they treated Zeke. I mean, the boy is 7 years old and they put so much pressure on the kid. I kind of like the moments where Zeke is with his grandparents and his grandfather realizes that he doesn't really want to be a warrior, versus Grisha, who's very insistent on Zeke trying to study everything. No wonder Zeke chose his grandparents. At number 15, I felt a bit bad for Keith. He wanted to feel like he mattered in the world and he did everything just to be a special guy. I love the contrasting scene of him being the commander of the Survey Corps and being congratulated, no one's there, versus Grisha, who saved the town from a plague, and him getting married and everyone is at his wedding, showing us that the people in the walls value the ordinary lives of individuals versus people throwing their lives away to fight these monsters. I get it, the civilians just see the scouts as just going on suicidal missions, but Carla's words at the end saying that it doesn't matter if you're special or not, you were born into this world, so that makes you special. What a great gal she is. Number 14, we have episode 6, just a really tragic episode of seeing Mikasa and the pain she went through as a kid, and then Eren comes out of nowhere. Eren in this flashback is looked like a hero, and the way it's colored and lit up, he looks like the savior that Mikasa needed, but in the future she goes back to that flashback and realizes that Eren was quite mental in this episode. Episode 13, this episode was pretty damn gloomy. Everyone looked defeated and it felt pointless. So many people's lives were lost all for nothing, and just seeing the townsfolk just shouting at Erwin, my gosh, I felt bad for Erwin, but this was his mission, it was his choice to do this, and he has to face the wrath of the public. At number 12, episode 81, I love the moment where Gabby saves Kaya and then Kaya realizes that she saved her life, yet she was about to kill hers. The two girls realizing that they are devils, and Niccolo acknowledging that everyone has a devil inside of them. We just have to get out of the forest. Number 11, episode 80. We dive into the founder Ymir's backstory and what a sad life she lived. Ripped away from her home village, tortured and hunted like an animal, gains these monstrous powers, yet she still goes back to the king because she seeks connections. She wants to be of service to someone, and she's in love with the king despite it being Stockholm Syndrome. You can't fault her despite all the trauma she went through as a child. Eren saying that she's free, she can choose what she wants to do, and Ymir finally crying because someone understands her. At number 10, we have episode 57, that day, the big basement reveal. The biggest twist for me was 1, Grisha wasn't all that bad. In fact, he was more or less a victim. And 2, my gosh, Dina being the Smiling Titan was mind-boggling to me when I first watched it. At number 9, we have episode 31, the biggest plot twist of all of AOT. No one saw this coming, not even me. I kind of preferred it in the manga because you don't have the music or sound effects which build up to the big twist reveal. At number 8, we have the first battle, episode 5. To be honest with you, I don't think anyone saw what was going to happen to Eren Yeager coming at all. all, but man, did he have an awesome ODM gear sequence. That was phenomenal. At number 7, we have episode 88, the final chapter special one. Hanji choosing to fight for one last time and protect her comrades and protect the world was really touching and emotional, but those first 15 minutes of Eren just stomping the world was frightening to watch. The music was so eerie, the monstrous rumbling titans were giving me the creeps, and just seeing the devastation was brutal. Mappa went all out adapting one of the best chapters of all of AOT. And following that, we have episode 89, the final chapter special 2, the finale of AOT. I have talked about this episode so many times, so check out all those videos, but it's a great way to end the series. I love it. At number 5, we have Hero episode 54. Armin being a hero, Levi being a hero, Eren being a hero, Mikasa being a hero. So many heroes. Armin sacrificing himself just to save his comrades and to save the day. He had to sacrifice his life to get the plan rolling. Mikasa delivering the final blow was awesome, and Levi taking out the Beast Titan was satisfying. Arafumi Imai is a master at animation. Number 4, we have Midnight Sun episode 55, an emotional moment, and just seeing Eren and Mikasa break down, especially Mikasa. I was really surprised that she broke down the way she did, showing us how much she cared for our boy Armin, and Levi realizing that everyone is a slave and thinking that, you know what, would Erwin had continued knowing what he did to his comrades? I don't think Levi felt that Erwin would have had the confidence to move on, so he picked the bright starring boy Armin Arlet, who's the future for us all. At number 3, we have the first episode, a shocking and dazzling way to kick off the very first episode of this dramatic anime. Number 2, Declaration of War. I love the episode. It kind of recaps the history of Marley and Eldia, while Reiner and Eren talk in the basement, and Eren understanding what Reiner had to go through, and him being calm, cool and collective and all grown up, understanding Reiner's position and his mental psyche. A complete contrast to his talk with them in season 2. Chilling episode this was. Eren Yeager seemed really villainous in this moment. Honorable mentions before our number 1 pick, Ilsa's Notebook and No Regrets. Check out my ranking of all the OVAs to see my full opinions, but I like them a lot, particularly No Regrets. Levi destroying that pure titan with so much rage was really heartfelt and emotional, but coming at number 1 obviously is episode 79, Memories of the Future, the biggest plot twist in any anime I've ever seen. We went into this episode having Zeke trying to persuade Eren that, hey, you've been brainwashed, but the reality was that Grisha was brainwashed, and this was meant to be a moment for Zeke to understand that Grisha wasn't all that bad. I like the connection, and Grisha apologizing to Zeke and saying how much he cares for the boy. Man, that was really emotional. But holy moly, the fact that Grisha saw Eren and Zeke all this time ever since episode 1 was pretty mind-blowing, but a huge mind-blowing moment. Grisha never went through with the plan. It was Eren Yeager all along. Holy moly, our minds were blown. I couldn't believe what Eren did. Just such a well-written twist. It was just so crafted so beautifully. And to think Eren knew about this all this time and he told no one, holy moly. I cannot possibly imagine what I did to his mental state. I would have gone crazy if that happened to me. If you want my full thoughts and opinions on the entire final season, then watch all of my videos / podcasts that I did on this channel, as well as my seasons 1 to 3 rankings plus OVAs. It's just my list, so it may not be the right list, it's just a list. I truly don't think there'll be another anime like Attack on Titan. There are some shows that come close to the amazing writing like Attack on Titan, but AOT is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm very grateful that I got to witness it. Thank you Hajime Isayama, thank you animators at Wit Studio and Mappa for all your hard work. Tell me what is your favorite episode and your least favorite episode in the comments. Like for more AOT videos, as well as other anime updates and all that jazz. Thank you for watching. Boy, did the view, signing out.